What's next? It seems like people are becoming aggravated and easily offended lately over what I've perceived as minor interactions. It's like things are blowing out of proportion. Like everything is on edge. And I'm not counting the Black Lives Matter situation. Let's just take that off the table. That's a serious situation that is in process of being dealt with. There are other things that are also people just on edge and they're looking for reasons to be offended. Even myself, I'm not the biggest on this C-19 virus situation. I believe it's out there, but I also believe it's been blown out of proportion because the statistics don't indicate that it's as fatal, as lethal as previously reported. And I'm looking at diagnosed versus symptomatic versus death rates. And most of the death rates are in nursing homes, which was supposed to be the most secured and locked down location where families were excluded from. So it just doesn't make sense. But on the other hand, I do support the wearing of masks. I do support social distancing only because there are lots of viruses out there. Forget C-19. We got flu, we have other cold viruses, and we have, unclean people, bacteria. Simple. The place that I go to the most I trust is my local reptile store because reptiles have bacteria that can make humans sick, and humans have bacteria that makes reptiles sick. And this guy's got the healthiest animals. His animals are always tip-top. Even when sometimes they come in sick, he does his best to treat them. He's got a vet on hand. So the person I trust the most is a reptile keeper, which supposedly reptiles are a harbinger of all kinds of nasty bacteria. But I digress. Myself, I wear a mask when I go to stores. I take it off when I drive. I take it off, basically when I get outside the store, I take it off because close contact stores, fine, wear masks. I'm okay with that, just fine. Stores put up the sign that says you can't enter with a mask, fine. That's the store's prerogative, it's a business. They choose how they want it run. And no matter if state's law or not, the store decides it this way. But what really frustrates me is when I see people walking around with the mask on their head, but of course their nose is exposed or their mouth is exposed. And it's like, what is this? How? If you're gonna enforce wearing masks, let's enforce wearing the mask the right way. I personally would rather someone would not wear a mask at all than wear it wrong, because it's just gonna be a harbinger for all kinds of garbage just sitting on there for a person who's so irresponsible they can't wear the mask right. But it upsets me, and I realize I'm trying to be the happy-go-lucky, nice guy, trying to find the middle way and not get upset about these things. But it really irritates me. And I guess it's a challenge. It's a learning lesson. It's a lesson because my one option, because I'm not going to talk to these people, because no matter what, they know they're wearing it wrong. They don't care. They say, I'm wearing a mask. That's all that matters. So nothing I can say will convince them. On the other hand, I still have to, keep myself safe from these. Like I said, I'd rather near people without a mask than wearing half a mask. So I can avoid these people. That's my one mode, is just to avoid these people entirely. And unfortunately let someone else handle it, because it's not my problem, it's not my store. But then there are people who are going up in arms and saying, on Facebook, saying, oh, masks are easy, it's not uncomfortable, it won't inhibit your oxygen, blah, blah, blah. And of course, they're posting on Facebook and preaching to the converted. So, and it's really not helping the situation. I have seen research indicating that wearing masks over an extended amount of time with the same mask for a long time will inhibit oxygen because they get clogged up with junk. So the best idea is even wear cloth masks to cycle them out. Wear them, wash them, wear them again. Like underwear. These masks are like underwear. And if you keep wearing the same nasty mask over and over, it's going to clog with garbage. It's going to clog with your spit and with your mucus, and it's just not going to be as healthy for you. So it's like a balance between no mask, always mask, and then simply wearing a mask sensibly. That's my biggest situation. Wear a mask, yes. Let's enforce wearing masks, but let's not wear masks in the car. Let's not force people to wear masks outside. Let's avoid each other 6 feet distance, have the meetings and, practice social distancing. Fine. All this is good. Let's be prepared, but let's do this in the most sensible way possible. But it seems like common sense being thrown out the window for just sheer reactionary argument stake. And I'm trying to avoid the argument policy, trying to be relaxed and calm and level-headed. Now, my goal in life is to allow myself to be presented with these conflicting mindsets, people with different ideas, different perspectives. And my job is to accept them, listen to them. I don't have to follow exactly what they say, but I can at least listen to them compassionately and give them a fair ear. But sometimes it's just too much. They're not just having a healthy debate. They're attacking. They're being manipulative, and they're being belittling. And honestly, when anyone says everyone knows that, or someone says you know that, or the facts are, and then don't present the actual real facts or their source, they're most likely lying to you. That's my experience. Or when they use derogatory terms like only stupid people do this, or what is wrong with these idiots? By insulting the people they're going against, again, they're not really sure about their stance. They're just trying to level things up to make themselves feel more secure in their argument. I mean, it's hard to get all the facts. And even when I get all the facts, I look at it and go, oh, some of this contradicts itself. Some of this information doesn't quite, line up. But the one thing that does line up, after all this, is this COVID-19 is not affecting world population. A pandemic should slow down population growth. A pandemic should indicate that regions are losing a lot of population. And although there are deaths, that's documented, thousands of deaths, close to millions of deaths, fine. But it's not showing up in the population itself. And the problem is, yes, people are dying of COVID, or C-19, I'm going to say C-19, but the other deaths of cancer, heart disease, stroke, flu, the rumor that they're being misrepresented as C-19, which if I look at the population numbers, it looks like that because there is no slowdown in population growth in the world. There's no slowdown in population growth in the United States. And I'm not saying that I want people to die, but the problem is death is inevitable for all of us. And we all have a ticking time bomb. And the problem is that if we don't help control the way we deal with this pandemic, the next pandemic needs to be dealt with. But as you increase populations, you have a higher and higher risk of having a new pandemic. So really, unless we control population, which I'm not for this, I'm not for killing people, I'm not for controlling population on the reality side, but I am on the analytical side, because when an ecosystem has too many of a population, it's just rife for disease. It's rife for killing itself, just getting angry, which might be what's happening right now. We're statistically, our population is getting so high that the viruses are not going to become the problem. Just sheer psychological, mental breakdown might be, just because as a societal animal, some of us thrive off antisocial, others need the social interaction, but everything's been wonky where antisocial people have been pushed by themselves and becoming stronger, and the social people are becoming just destroyed because they can't get the social interaction. I'm talking in circles, but I'm thinking that we're being manipulated, that there is some basis in fact, there is some truth, but the truths are being manipulated to something out of this world, extraordinary and not helpful for the general people, for the real people. I think the powers that be are manipulating us, and what I'm coming down to is one thing. If they make a vaccine for this thing, it's going to be 100% lie, because the COVID is a form of cold. They've never been able to develop a vaccine for the cold before, because the cold mutates so quickly. So by the time you manufacture a vaccine for a cold, a strain of the cold, it isn't even the best guess, because it just evolves into another. It's like picking the bottom of a tree and planning on cutting it on one of the branches on the end, but you don't know which branch is going to be growing into the sunlight. So you want to prevent that branch from growing, and just the best guess. And most times there's just so many different viruses that could go any direction. It's just not. Honestly, the C-19 vaccine has no possibility of being effective. It'll be a great placebo. It might make people feel better, which placebos are, people are relaxed and more comfortable, less stressed. They're better off, but don't be manipulated, because there might be another whole thing going on that we don't understand. But maybe I'm just talking crazy, because yes, I wear a mask. Yes, I believe that COVID is blown out of proportion. Yes, I love social distancing. I follow all the rules and believe all the conspiracies, because I am right down in the middle of all this, because I believe the truth is always in the middle. The extremes are always where the manipulations lie. And I believe the manipulators are in the anti-COVID thing and the pro-COVID thing and the anti-vax and the pro-vax. I believe it's all in the extremes, that's where they want us to be. But the truth is right in the middle, where they're hiding all of the information. But that's only my beliefs, and that's only my words, and you can come up with your own and rip me to shreds, because that's all I do. I just produce these videos to just basically let my mind flow. And because we're human beings, every day we grow a little bit differently. We find a new path. But just my thoughts. What are yours? What's next?